In the 8th year of my love for Thomas, he, who had always been cold, suddenly accepted my confession. Chloe, I've only just realized my own heart. I love you. Tears of joy streamed down my face. We immediately met each other's parents, set a wedding date, and started trying for a baby, but the day before the wedding, a strange number called me. Did you know that Thomas is already married? I never thought I would receive such a call on the eve of my wedding. The woman's voice was laced with scorn. Are you enjoying being the other woman? Chloe, you are truly shameless, daring to marry a married man. She said Thomas was already married, interfering in someone else's relationship. She spat. People like you go to hell in a pig cage. But I could no longer hear her words. My mind was buzzing. I could only turn and stare at Thomas, who was in the kitchen, cutting fruit for me. He was my groom. Tomorrow, we would be married. I had loved him for 8 years. And just when I was about to give up, he had a change of heart. This was the wedding I had dreamed of countless times. I couldn't believe it. I wouldn't believe it. How could Thomas be married? But the voice on the phone continued its tirade. Why are you so quiet? You know you're a slut, don't you? What does it feel like to be the other woman? Should I get some reporters to ask you? Miss G. Her words were too vile. My strength gave out, and the phone slipped from my fingers, landing softly on the carpet. I didn't pick it up. I sat there in a daze, replaying every moment of our relationship, searching for a single clue that this was all a cruel joke. But there was none. His acceptance of my confession had been sudden. At a family gathering, when my elders were trying to set me up, he had burst in, looking exhausted. He had taken a red-eye flight to be there. In front of everyone, he had knelt and proposed. Chloe, in the past, I was unwilling to face my feelings. But now, I finally see my own heart. I like you, very much. If I can't marry you, I would rather be alone for the rest of my life. Seeing the enormous diamond, I was overwhelmed with joy, completely stunned. Marry him, marry him. Everyone had cheered. Blushing, I had accepted. Everything had fallen into place after that. I want to marry you as soon as possible, he had said. We had met the parents, tried on wedding dresses, and announced the date to the whole city. I was even pregnant. The test results hidden under my pillow, waiting to surprise him at the wedding. And now, someone was telling me he was already married. How could this be? Thomas was always so observant. He noticed my strange state and came over, putting down the fruit knife. Honey, what's wrong? Are you not feeling well? I stared at him, searching his face for any sign of guilt, but his expression was normal. He even touched my forehead, ready to call a doctor. You don't have a fever. Where does it hurt? I'll have the family doctor come and see you. My face was a mask. I kicked the phone on the floor. You're already married, aren't you? Of course not, he said, looking away. Are you having pre-wedding jitters? I'll call the doctor to get you something to calm your nerves. My heart sank. I had been following him around since I could remember. I knew his every move. His words were calm, but his voice was trembling. His eyes darted around, avoiding mine. I was the one who had been wronged, but seeing his reaction, I felt a wave of shame. I had never imagined that I would one day become the other woman, the homewrecker. A cool autumn breeze blew in through the open window, and I shivered, choking back a sob. I asked, how long have you known each other? Am I the other woman? I couldn't bring myself to say the last few words. He sighed and sat on the other end of the sofa, running a hand through his hair in frustration. It was a long time ago. Is it really necessary to dig up the past? Chloe, we got married abroad. It won't affect our relationship at all. Other guys my age have plenty of women on the side, but I'm not like them. We grew up together. Don't you trust me? And she won't show up at the wedding tomorrow. Trust me. Okay, he spoke softly, trying to comfort me, wiping away my tears, but they just kept coming. The wedding was tomorrow. How could he be so casual about this? My heart ached, and the baby in my womb seemed to be in distress as well. Are you still going to hide it, Thomas? I closed my eyes, my nails digging into my palms. If you don't tell me, then the wedding tomorrow is off. Chloe, will not be a third party. He would never agree to cancel the wedding. As I expected, he jumped up. No, why do you have to be so difficult? Realizing his tone was too harsh, he pulled me into a hug, his voice pleading. I promise I will treat you well for the rest of my life. Chloe, don't make this hard for me, please. I laughed bitterly. He didn't know that on the day he proposed, my aunt had warned me about his grandfather's will. Thomas can only fully inherit the family business after he marries a woman of equal social standing, and he can only inherit the shares after they have a child. Chloe, she had said, his sudden proposal is not as simple as it seems. Don't be fooled. I had foolishly defended him then. Auntie, you have to believe me, he's not that kind of person. I had thought he had genuinely fallen in love with me, but now, his reaction was like a dagger to my heart. He was completely dismissive, expecting me to just turn a blind eye and willingly become a homewrecker. He didn't care about my feelings, or the scandal it would cause for my family and our company. I remained silent, my face a cold mask. He gritted his teeth and finally said the name. The one I married abroad. Is Isabel. Isabel, my half-sister. Tears of laughter streamed down my face. Why, Thomas, why are you all doing this to me? My father had cheated on my mother, and his illegitimate daughter was a year older than me. My mother, unable to bear the blow, had jumped from a building, and now, my fiancé was her husband. Chloe, don't cry, he said, holding me tighter. I only hid it from you because I was afraid you would be too upset. Let go of me. I struggled, but he wouldn't let go. I finally gave up and started pounding on his chest. Why are you doing this to me? He knew my mother had taken her own life because of Isabel and her mother. When Isabel first came to live with us, she had been so timid. Thomas, knowing she was the daughter of a mistress, had been cold to her but exceptionally kind to me. The first time I got my period, my mother was not in a state to help me. I was mortified, sitting in my chair at tutoring, not knowing what to do. It was Thomas who had bought me pads, his face red, and had awkwardly made me ginger tea. All those small moments had made me believe that he liked me, until I was 17. My aunt, who had been quietly building her own business, became a major threat to my father's company. To get revenge for her sister, she had ruthlessly driven the mistress out and had even forced my father to send Isabel abroad. That was when Thomas, who was supposed to go to university in Beijing with me, suddenly changed his mind and went to the US, but he had kept in touch, always telling me to wait for him. I had never imagined he would get together with Isabel, and now, he was telling me they had gotten legally married abroad, making a fool of me, turning me into a part of their sick game. Perhaps realizing that the truth was out, he seemed to relax. The wedding will go on as planned. Chloe, trust me, your sister is staying abroad, she won't come back and cause trouble. He said it with such confidence. I ignored him, my eyes fixed on the phone on the floor. It was still on the call. The woman on the other end hadn't hung up. Noticing my gaze, he looked down at the phone and saw the number. That's a friend of Isabel's from abroad. She's a bit fiery, but she doesn't mean any harm. She's just sticking up for your sister. Just let it go in one ear and out the other. In one ear and out the other. The absurdity of it all made my head spin. I picked up the phone and went upstairs without a word. He didn't follow. From the landing, I saw him kick the coffee table in frustration and storm out. The doormat he had taken for granted was finally fighting back, and he didn't like it. I lay in bed for a long time before finally sending him a message. If you don't divorce Isabel, then this is over. I can't ignore what you've hidden from me. Let's postpone the wedding. Since you were honest with me, it'll help you come up with an excuse. Then I sent a mass message to our guests. Due to an unexpected pregnancy and not feeling well, the wedding will be postponed. I apologize for any inconvenience. It was 1 a.m, but many people were still awake. Messages of congratulations and concern poured in. Let me be the godmother. Your mother in heaven will be so happy. Are you okay? I know a great obstetrician. Looking at the messages, I couldn't help but laugh. A bitter, ironic sound in the silent room. Strangers cared more about me than my own fiancé. He was willing to let me bear the shame of being a homewrecker without a second thought, because a marriage abroad is still a legal marriage. Thomas, I whispered his name over and over. You have disappointed me, but you have also played right into my hands. This is good. At least on the day I spring my trap, I won't feel a shred of guilt. At 3 a.m, a barrage of messages from him woke me up. Don't do this. Chloe, everything is ready. How can you just cancel? Isabel is your sister. Even if you don't share a mother, she won't come back and cause trouble. Are you serious? My friends are sending me screenshots. You're pregnant. Is this true? Chloe, answer me. Seeing that I wasn't responding, he finally gave in. I'll do what you want. I've already booked the earliest flight. As soon as I divorce Isabel, we'll set a new wedding date. Okay. I raised an eyebrow, trying to suppress a smile. Okay, I'll wait for you. Everyone accepted the postponement, except my aunt. She came to see me while Thomas was away. How could you be so foolish? An unwed pregnancy is a huge taboo, and I've already found out that Thomas is married to Isabel. You love-struck fool. If your mother were still here, she would lock you up and never let you see him again. Her words were harsh, but they were full of concern. A warmth spread through my chest. My aunt and my mother were twins, and they looked so much alike. but my mother was gentle, while my aunt, a seasoned businesswoman, was more fiery. It's because of my mother that I started, but my voice was too soft for her to hear. What? She asked. I quickly composed myself. Nothing, my mind is made up. Auntie, just wish me luck. She sighed and said nothing more. I knew I was disappointing her, but I had to do this. Thomas and Isabel had to pay, and I would do it alone. Before she left, she gave me a jade bracelet. Your mother gave this to me when I was starting my business. She said to sell it if I ever ran into trouble, but I never did. Now you're all grown up and getting married. It's yours now, Chloe. Take care of yourself. I clutched the bracelet, but I couldn't bring myself to tell her my plan. I just watched her go. Thomas, perhaps in a hurry to take control of the company, was back in less than 3 days, and with him was Isabel. She was even more beautiful than I remembered, clearly well cared for. Thomas was truly devoted to her. The bag on her arm alone was worth a small fortune. Isabel just wanted to see how things have changed back home. He explained quickly, we're divorced. She won't be a bother. I just smiled and took his arm. Our wedding will be soon. You should come. Isabel looked at me with disdain but said, no need. As long as you two are happy. Thomas tensed, clearly wanting to comfort her. I knew what she was thinking. How shameless of me to be with a man who was already hers. My aunt had told me everything. They had been together for years, had even had a child that they lost. His family had known about the marriage all along but had only intervened after the grandfather's will was read. That was when they had thought of Meth perfect, compliant, love-struck girl who would secure his inheritance. In the car, Isabel suggested staying with us. I haven't found a place yet. Can I stay with you for a couple of days? Of course. Thomas agreed immediately. I burst into tears. This is our marital home. You're really going to let your ex-wife stay here? You promised you wouldn't have anything more to do with her. She's just staying for a few days, he said, his voice strained with impatience. I've already divorced her. Can't you be a little more gracious? You didn't want to be the other woman, and she was willing to step aside for you. Do you have any idea how much she cried? He clearly thought it was no big deal, but then he saw my tear-streaked face and froze. The car fell silent. Isabel, he finally said in a low voice, you should stay at a hotel. This is our home. It wouldn't be right. Of course, Isabel wasn't happy, but she was in a precarious position and couldn't afford to make waves. For you, she said, her voice full of meaning. I'm willing to suffer. In the car, he sighed and wiped my tears. Don't cry. Let's go and register our marriage. We need to give the baby a name. The wedding was set for the following Wednesday. I sent out new invitations. At the final dress fitting, Thomas came with me, but Isabel, somehow, found out and followed us. When I came out of the fitting room in the most beautiful, most expensive dress in the store, Thomas was speechless. How do I look? I asked, ignoring the look of pure jealousy on Isabel's face. Beautiful, he breathed. Honey, I'm so lucky to have you. I glanced at her. Of course, I want to be your most beautiful bride, your one and only. Even the sales assistants were smiling. You two are a perfect match. Isabel couldn't stand it anymore. She grabbed his sleeve. How can you be so biased? I was your first wife. I never had this. Give this dress to me. All my life, I've had to yield to her because of my status. It's not my fault I was born on the wrong side of the bed. This is my only wish. Please. He was about to refuse, but her words about her birth hit a nerve. He looked at me, a pleading look in his eyes. He wanted me to give up the dress. I can't believe this, one of the assistants whispered. Thomas didn't care about my feelings. My heart ached. I stared at him, refusing to back down. Our wedding is next Wednesday. If she wants it, you can give it to her after the wedding. Why do you have to humiliate me like this? Thomas, what do you think? Isabel pressed. She's already pregnant. She doesn't need such a fancy dress. And you're already married. She wouldn't dare to defy you. I'm telling you now, I don't want a hand-me-down. If you give this dress to her, then we are really over. She was playing her trump card. Their past, their shared struggles, all those rainy nights when you were sick. I was the one who was there for you. In the end, he gave her the dress. He paid for it. I could do nothing but watch as she threw her arms around him in triumph. The pitying looks from the sales staff were unbearable. How pathetic. The bride-tobe, always second best to the ex-wife. He wouldn't even look at me. There's still time before the wedding. I'll find you a better one, he promised. Or, when she's done with it, she can give it back to you. My heart twisted. No, thank you, I said, walking out of the store. I don't want a hand-me-down either. I didn't know if he understood my double meaning, but his face went pale. But I knew my plan was proceeding smoothly. The net was about to close. The wedding day arrived. The hall was full of guests, all praising our perfect match. Only my aunt looked grim. I didn't know what Thomas had promised Isabel, but she was nowhere to be seen. The wedding went off without a hitch, but I soon found out what he had promised her. I arrived at the venue and saw him lifting a woman's veil and kissing her. A fierce, passionate kiss. It was a small room, full of his closest friends. Way to go, Thomas, they cheered. But what about the one at home? My fists clenched. 2 hours ago, after our own wedding, he had gotten a call and had rushed out. I knew then he had gone to her. He didn't see me, but Isabel did. She mouthed the words "you lose" at me. Hey, isn't that the new wife? Someone shouted. The room fell silent. Thomas turned, his face a mask of panic. Honey, it's not what you think. Thomas, I said, my voice trembling, tears streaming down my face. How could you do this to me? To our unborn child. I was wearing a white dress, my small baby bump visible. I looked frail, as if a gust of wind could blow me over. And all of you, I said, looking around at his friends. What have I ever done to you, that you would so easily accept her as your sister-in-law? His friends looked down in shame. Why, Thomas, I thought you would be good to me. I swayed, my heart aching. Honey, let me explain. He tried to hold me, but I slapped him, twice. He took the blows without a word. We're sorry, it won't happen again. His friends pleaded. It was Isabel. She threatened to kill herself. Please forgive him. I turned and walked out, a small smile playing on my lips. The net was closing. The next day, as he knelt by my bed, begging for forgiveness, a video of the cheating scene went viral. In the video, I was the heartbroken, betrayed wife, watching my husband kiss my own sister. Isabel was shopping with the credit card he had given her when the scandal broke. The whispers started, and then the accusations. Isn't that her? The one who stole her own sister's husband. She's even wearing the same necklace. So shameless. I heard she's an illegitimate child too. No wonder. She panicked and tried to call him for help, but her calls went unanswered. He had given me his phone to prove his loyalty. The story exploded online. Scandal in high society. Billionaire president cheats on wedding day with his sister-in-law. 10-year love story a lie. The company's social media was flooded with angry comments. The shareholders were furious. When they were gone, he came to me, begging, "The company is in trouble. You have to help me. We're a team." A single statement from you, saying it was all a misunderstanding, a rehearsal for the wedding, and the PR team can handle the rest. I just smiled. This was the man who had cheated on me, and now he wanted my help. How can you guarantee you won't cheat again? I asked, my voice deceptively soft. They say, where a person's money is, that's where their heart is. For the sake of the baby, and the company, transfer half of your shares to me. When the baby is born, I'll put them in his name. He readily agreed, desperate to salvage the situation. That night, I overheard him on the phone with her. Don't worry, I'll merge her family's company with ours soon. She's pregnant with my child. She won't cause any trouble. He was still planning to protect her, but that was impossible. I called my lawyer. I want to sue my husband for bigamy. When he received the summons, he was furious. You tricked me. Where is the video statement? And what is this? I said I would help you. I said, sipping my coffee. I never said when. His father came to see me, demanding that I drop the lawsuit. You are a part of this family now. How can you sue your own husband? Your mother was a gentle woman. Why have you become such a monster? I threw my hot coffee in his face. Then I anonymously reported him for tax evasion. Thomas, in his desperation, released his own video, claiming it was all a misunderstanding, but no one believed him. Why don't you just say you were possessed by a ghost? A wedding rehearsal with your sister-in-law. Why don't you just marry her sister instead? Your father is a tax-evading crook, and you're no better. The company's products were boycotted, and the bigamy case was about to go to trial. The evidence was irrefutable. Isabel, when she saw me in court, was livid. You have the nerve to sue me. If we hadn't gotten divorced, you would have been the other woman. Thank you for that. I smiled. It certainly made things easier. At the end of the first trial, Thomas told me, even if you sue me for bigamy, I will not divorce you. You are carrying my child. I won't divorce you either. I said. He looked relieved. There's too much money involved. I added. In the end, they were both found guilty of bigamy and sentenced to 2 years in prison, with a 3-year probation. All that fuss for this? Isabel sneered. Yes, I said, but if you spent any of our marital assets, I will sue you. His father's tax evasion was a serious matter, and with my help, the investigation proceeded quickly. The family's reputation was in tatters. The company's stock plummeted. The board was in an uproar. Thomas was in a board meeting when I walked in. "This is a private meeting," he snapped. "According to the shares I hold," I said, as my assistant distributed the documents. "I am now the largest shareholder in this company." "Am I still interrupting?" He was stunned. He didn't know that I had been secretly buying up shares for years, and with the 20 he had given me, I was now in control. The board members were old allies of his grandfather, but they were also businessmen. In the end, I was elected to the board. I proposed a merger of our two family companies. Thomas tried to rally support against me, but before he could, he and Isabel were arrested. "You have the wrong person," he yelled as they handcuffed him. I finally asked the question that had been burning in my heart for years. "Do you have any remorse for what you did to my mother, Thomas?" He froze, a look of dawning horror on his face. "All these years, have you ever seen her in your dreams? Did she ever ask you why you killed her?" He was in shock as they led him away. I finally felt a sense of release. I had once loved him so much, but the night he was planning to leave the country with Isabel, I had overheard their conversation. "Your aunt is a real piece of work, driving me out of the country like this. If you really loved me, you would have used your family's power to let me stay." She had pouted. "Wouldn't it be better for us to be alone together, somewhere new?" He had soothed. "Besides, how would you sleep without me? You were so scared after your mother died." "Don't. What if she comes back to haunt me?" She had whimpered. "She won't," he had said, holding her close. "It wasn't our fault. Your mother was just unstable. You just gave her a little push, and she stumbled. And I accidentally stepped on her hand. We were young. There were no witnesses. It's all in the past." I had been hiding outside the door, my body racked with shivers. My mother hadn't taken her own life. She had been murdered, and one of the killers was now telling me he would take me away to heal. I had a cleaning lady who had witnessed the whole thing and had recorded it on her phone. I had been waiting for the right moment. Thomas' grandfather's will had been that moment. The case was a sensation. Isabel was sentenced to 13 years, and Thomas to 15. After it was all over, I slept for a whole day. Then I went with my aunt to visit my mother's grave. I told her everything. The wedding dress, the pregnancy, all of it had been a part of my plan. "Why didn't you just have them killed?" my aunt asked. "They're not worth taking a life for," I said. "For people like them, death would be a release." Years later, when they were released from prison, Thomas' family company was long bankrupt. Isabel's beauty had faded, the scandal was revived online, and she was a pariah. Thomas, who had never known a day of hard labor, was unemployable. He tried to come to me, but I had bodyguards now. He ended up working in a factory for less than $200 a month. Isabel, unable to find a rich man to support her, ended up in the same factory. The other workers would whisper about them, the murderer and the bigamist. They couldn't even die. It seemed someone was making sure of that. One day, as I sat on the assembly line, my body aching, I was filled with regret. If I had just saved her mother, none of this would have happened. We would have had a beautiful child, and I would still be the president of my company. But then a foreman slapped me, and I was back in the harsh reality of the factory. I was only in my 30s. The thought of spending the rest of my life here, my body breaking down. I just wanted to die. If I had another chance, I would do things differently. I swear I would.